We have a stellar panel lined up, moderated by a leader who has consistently shaped strategic dialogues in the business world. Please join me in welcoming our moderator for this session, Mr. D. Shiv Kumar, the operating partner at Advent International. Please give a warm round of applause. And to make this conversation even more insightful, we are privileged to have with us an extraordinary panel of industry leaders. I'd like to now call upon Mr. Apurva Mankad. Round of applause. Mr. Jayanta Banerjee. Ms. Khushbu Agarwal. And Mr. Nitin Chopra. Please give a warm welcome, please. Over to you.
Yeah,
sir.
the guys come back from tea or we wait for a minute?
I think everyone is coming. Is there anyone else outside?
Okay, good to go? Okay,
yeah,
fantastic. So thank you. I don't see Ashok here. Where's Ashok? There you are. Okay. So why am I doing this panel? I'm on the board of IIM Udaipur, and Ashok told me that if I don't do this, he'll sack me. So that's the only reason I'm here. So thank you, Ashok, for the gun at my head. Okay, so we got a wonderful panel here. So this is about AI and the human instinct and what corporations are doing right now. I have a bunch of questions, which all of them will address. Then I have some individual questions for each of them. So my first question for all the panelists is, since we are in the age of AI, how would ChatGPT introduce you? How would ChatGPT introduce you?
Well, I asked ChatGPT, say good things about me, so it said good things about me. In fact, I tried that. And very interestingly, ChatGPT took the profile data from your today's session. And it basically said the profile, which is like, you are from so-and-so and so-and-so. So the profile was more or less what I had written down in multiple places and submitted. So it was kind of a search engine result combined into half a page. So very interesting to know, though, that it gave me today's event data. And all our understanding till now is ChatGPT to 6 months pehle ka data pe kaam karta hai. Very interesting.
Thank you.
Now, for me, if you're looking for any dramatization, no, nothing happened. As non-interesting I am, so ChatGPT introduced me as I am. It took the data from my LinkedIn profile or the published profile, and it said the same thing, maybe in a little bit of a better English and polished. But I would say I would not use AI to introduce me. I would introduce myself. That's the way it is. Yeah. So I'm the CIO of Tata Steel. It also said you are the CIO of Tata Steel. That's it.
For me, Shiv, it was quite depressing because I asked, can you describe Nitin Chopra, and ChatGPT said, Nitin who? So I got quite depressed. I said, please, come on, don't depress me. I'm going for this panel. So I kept pleading and prodding it. And then finally, it did exactly what you said, Apurva, which is read off the latest, which I was also quite surprised because I said, does Nitin Chopra only do digital, and does digital only mean IT in Indigo? And then it started saying, no, reading some stuff from what you put into your site. So it's quite interesting.
Yes, so I think when I searched, I forgot to write my surname. So I was a South Indian actress, which I'm not. And then I said...
Who has a temple dedicated to her?
Yes, important. I wish. Then I said Khushbu Agarwal, and then, they were some other celebrities, so I'm not there yet. Then I said Khushbu Agarwal at Zyla, and there my profile, founder at Zyla Health, and all that my team had written in beautiful language on the website came up. So I think the website ranking could have been a source for ChatGPT. So yes, I'm the founder at Zyla Health. Hi, everyone.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so first question to everybody in the panel. Where does one start in thinking about implementing AI in an organization? And what is a likely first area to start? Any order is fine. Yeah.
I think the first area has to be internal. Because first you have to convince yourself this works for you inside your organization, and then you have to convince your people that this is a good idea. And the third thing you have to tell them is that you are not going to lose your job because of this. I think these three, as a tech company, one of the biggest worry anybody in the tech today is that, am I going to be around and required? So internal operation solution will be the first thing to do, because then the risk is low, because if you go wrong, nobody knows outside your company, only you know about it. And then you're able to talk about it to the external people. So I say internal, any operation solution will be first before you get into a customer-facing kind of a point.
So before we select an area, I would say that broadly, any digital transformation or tech-led business transformation should start from the business leadership, the management, that is that a charter? Why are we going to do that, right? So it should be a business case or a business problem or a business strategy. It should be starting with a business case. Can we fructify this business case? Can we solve this problem? Because if the KPI does not move, there is no point. The cost will later on stare at you, right? So that is the starting point. For us in Tata Steel, we took a much broad level approach. We started with all functions together, both from the manufacturing side, the customer side, and functional excellence side. So for us, it was a broad level, but it is horses for courses. So if you want to solve a specific problem in a company, you can start from there. But my advice is that we should start from the business KPI, the business strategy. Otherwise, it doesn't solve any real problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, for Indigo, I took a call. We have a lab called Lab 37, and as soon as this next wave of AI came, which is generative AI, we actually put it right in front of our customers, and we put it as a revenue creating channel, right? So we called it Sky. If you guys have used it, it's on our website and app. It's also on our WhatsApp, right? So it's around 40 crores now since we have launched it. It's produced that revenue. 65,000 boarding passes a day. So revenue service, and then of course it answers Q&A. Yeah, I ran the lab for Emirates for 6 years. One of my learnings in the lab was that, you got to go live in front of the customers to actually learn this. So we took all the precautions that were necessary. We went with the big players, and then, we are still learning. I mean, it's great to hear different perspectives, but at Indigo, we put it out there in front of our customers. That was our first product. It's called Sky, and it's kind of working up to now.
Yep. Thank you.
We're a healthcare company at Zyla Health. We help people get better. For that, we onboard users of insurance companies, corporates, and patients of pharma companies. So unlike the amazing folks here, we have to be very cautious when we use AI, right? Number one, no patient wants to hear AI is treating you, right? Would you want AI to treat you or a doctor to treat you? Secondly, there can be zero mistakes. Right? There is no chance of error because you're treating a patient, lives are at stake. So how we have done it is basically, carefully built it in to our internal clinical decision support tools, right? So we are able to basically, we have longitudinal data on patients, right? Their medicines, their symptoms, their diagnoses, and this is across years. For us, building an anomaly detection engine made sense, which would assess the risk profile of a patient, and I'll highlight what could be a possible anomaly, that this person seems to be having a heart risk, or this looks like a symptom of early stage kidney disease and needs a doctor's advice. But AI would never treat the patient. This would escalate to a treating doctor, and the treating doctor would immediately take action. But what AI would do beautifully in this case, our AI is called Athena, it's built in-house, is that it will be able to read millions of patient files any given second, which a human cannot. But what a human does beautifully is then treat a patient or create a prescription with the required laws and the teleconsultation requirements, which AI cannot. So it's a good amalgamation of human and AI at Zyla.
Thank you for that. As you, again, question to everybody on the panel, as you implemented AI through your organization, what impact did it have on people's skills, and what impact did it have on jobs, specifically job losses, because everybody is worried about that aspect. There's lots of news around that. What's your personal experience in your company on that?
Okay. So I'll give a little longish answer on this because it's a very, very important question. My view is that when you bring in any tech, and I'm saying AI tech, but that is cloud data AI, if you bring in an industry 4.0 template from the Western world, we have to contextualize to India. It's pretty important because where a template works, where there is a lack of human capital, and in India, we have a livelihood to take care. Mostly, we're in the industry where there is a lot of workers, and we cannot take away the livelihood by just automating the processes and bringing in robotics and all that. So I will now say that when it comes to job losses, in India, we should look at using technology as a co-pilot, because AI's fundamental value delivery is it reduces variability of work outcome or output, right? It doesn't replace the experts. It will also not take care of the absolute non-competency, but it will bring the competency to an average, and it will also improve it many more notches. So that is important to standardize. From a job loss perspective, it is what is your objective. If you are, from an industry perspective, if you are focused on using technology to improve yield, energy, throughput, quality in our parlance, there is no job loss. It is only how much you are monetizing technology for better business benefits. When it comes to productivity, there are two aspects. You can improve individual productivity. Like in IT, if you apply AI, you are improving productivity. You are doing it faster, better, cheaper, more accurate. But at the same time, the job can also change its form. Like we have never lost our jobs as drivers because there is a new tech car that has come in. We can look at the dashboard and reverse our car, but I learned driving when I had to look backwards to reverse our car, right? But we are still returning the job as drivers. So it is retraining. So I would say in India it is more co-pilot. But yeah, if you have to drive productivity, yeah, then you can use technology to reduce the number of effort or the amount of effort that is required. So that is also possible. But here I would be more cautious on the livelihood in Indian demography in utilizing our Western technology template that is there.
How about skills? Anything in the
on the skills, as I said, that see, if you take a DevOps or in IT parlance, if you look at, the issue is if you do not train yourself with AI tech, the person who is using technology will stay. If you're not using AI, you will become irrelevant in business context. That will happen. So you have to reskill yourself. So it is not that the technology will replace your job. It is about the people who are using technology better will be becoming much more efficient and will retain. So that's the threat. So the advice is that everybody should know and learn AI and adopt it. So that's the retraining.
So I have a daughter who is in engineering right now. So she's doing electronics engineering, VJTI. So she asked me a question, should I pursue programming or not anymore? Because everybody around her is telling her, programming jobs are gone. What will you do after 4 years? Should I go to US and do MS or not? Because she hears so many of her seniors who are doing studies after spending 70, 80 lakh of rupees are not having jobs enough in the world of technology because everybody's done data science and AI there these days. So the concerns are absolutely real and the impact is also absolutely real. Individually at our organization level, there are no direct job losses because we anyway have been looking for more people, but we are definitely looking at increasing productivity of people. And definitely, like he said, it's been made very clear to team that the appraisals are near. All I want to know is how you improved yourself by 3x. Please don't tell me I improved by 15%, 20%, and put some parameters to do that. If you're not doing that, please stay. We're a nice organization. We don't send people home. But please don't expect a fantastic growth. And there are a few people we know, we'll have to give them 200% increment this time because they are going to be poached. So they did the right thing. So suddenly the difference is becoming stark in skills. It used to be a world where people had 10%, 20%, 30%, 40% difference in a given organization. Right? Because if the place where I recruit from will absolutely decide where I'm coming from. So I don't recruit all the IT, JE, top 20. So obviously there is a certain skill you have, but the difference used to be 20, 30%. Now, even a person who is not from IIT, JE, top 20, top 100 can use AI to suddenly make himself so skilled, right? Because there has to be, of course, intrinsic talent, that he's 5 times better than other people. And when you as an owner of the organization look at that, you have a question, how do I compensate this guy so he doesn't run away? Because the rest are going to still cry, saying, what, he's still a human being with 2 hands, right? And why are you giving him so much more money? So it's become a bit of a very slippery kind of an area today for us, that we absolutely want to push people towards AI. We want them to become multiple times productive, but not everybody is able to cope up because there is something called as ego which is coming in between. Very amazing, but 23-year-old people are competing saying that I can write a better code than AI. And how can you even say that, right? But they will not expressly say that, but they are doing it. Okay. Did you use AI? Yes, no, maybe. Literally, you go into it and say they don't do it. So that's becoming a big problem for us, that while we want skilling to be increased, and job losses are not in my hand. That's market, as he rightly said. If I don't do it, my competition is going to do it. So that is something which will have to be following the market rather than, any other way.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we study the transcripts of what Sky does and a number of other things, right? So we took Sky first consumer facing and then we put it across multiple areas, right? Airport services, internal areas, yeah. And it's quite mind-blowing what the technology is, right? I mean, just to give you a bit of an idea, as I said, some numbers, I mean, in terms of just customer experience, 65,000 boarding passes get issued of a product which is not known very well still in India, right? I mean, I don't think any one of you are fully aware because we haven't marketed it a lot, right? So organically, the customer experience is getting impacted. And then on our customer service area, around 93% of the engagements on Sky are answered by Sky, right? And this is just the first wave, which is generative AI. Around 5-6 months back, we started work on agentic AI, you know, all the frameworks we downloaded in the lab. And yeah, my view is, up till now, there has not been a significant impact. We are year 3 in our journey of transformation, and year 2 really in AI. But looking at what I see in the transcripts, looking at what these technologies are able to do, I think we have a huge tectonic change coming up, both in terms of, you know, the impact and what this technology can do for white-collar productivity and white-collar replacement to some extent, and then the skills that we need to come up with to tackle this tectonic change, right? I mean, we've now just started to mature our agentic AI wave, and again, we will go live with it, right? And we are still struggling with what does reasoning actually mean in terms of IT and technology. But when we figure that out, we will go live with it. So yeah, I mean, not a big change right now, but you know, it's no longer 10-15%. It's like 50%. It's kind of exponential impact, right? And we are not used to, right? The whole human is about linear stuff. Yeah, and I think skill-wise, I think people have said it. We just need to open up people's mind and students, and you know, we have great academic institutes that are here to just get people to be curious and learn, right? That's what will, I mean, carry on, you know, in terms of even within Indigo, right? We do these lessons and coach our people to be curious and continuously learn, because this wave is coming. It's not going to go back in, right?
Thank you.
Yes, so in terms of applying this entire question to healthcare, it gets a little different again. I would say that there are 2 aspects to how it impacts people. One, you know, in healthcare, in hospitals, if you see, it's noted that people have the maximum amount of burnout. We've all seen it in COVID, right? Because healthcare is continuous. Any symptom, a heart attack can happen at 3 a.m. A patient to emergency at 2 a.m. So a hospital never stops, healthcare never stops. Our promise at Zyla is that we get a person better, we prevent the next hospitalization, we prevent the next heart attack, we read the symptoms and problems in time, we guide them continuously. So it is a very, very nerve-wracking job for any care team, right? And we have a complete care team, doctors, paramedics, nutritionists, so on. So I would say, number one, even before the advent of AI is very new, right? And we've started, as Nitin is saying, right, applying the agentic flows and others today, right? But even before that, we had basic technology. We built our chatbot on Microsoft Lewis, right? Microsoft Lewis helped us with the technology wherein if I have today 1 lakh patients under care, it's like a virtual hospital where 1 lakh people are hospitalized, right? I have to follow up with the patients every day, right? I requested, the doctor asked you for an echo test. Have you done it? Have you know measured your sugar levels today? Have you been able to follow this routine? How are you feeling in terms of your leg pain that you reported, right? No human can do this. No team of humans can do this without mistakes or misses for 1 lakh patients, right? Even today, I think I'm at a small scale, and I imagine I want to go to 10 lakh patients. So we have been able to reduce burnout of team, correct? At the same time, hand in hand, if I didn't have the technology, right? I'm not even talking about AI, I'm talking about a basic chatbot technology that we built early on, I would have to hire 20x, 30x the size of team. So definitely yes, right? Technology will make the repeat tasks of humans redundant, right? We are able to then follow up with 1 lakh patients in a very, very articulate and human way, a very, very empathetic way without deploying those number of humans. I would also say that it up-levels the quality and the accuracy for the patient, for the end user, right, in a general sense, because humans will make errors, right? So humans have capabilities of cognitive understanding which are exceptional compared to technology, but humans make manual mistakes. And when we're talking about 10,000 data points, for example, to be assessed immediately and find an anomaly or send the follow-up, it's impossible. So I would say balancing burnout, but yes, it has an impact on the jobs as well.
Okay. My next question is, what does the AI ecosystem look like for your company, in your industry? What does the AI ecosystem look like?
So in our industry, the ecosystem, logistics is the industry in which I work. My technology company is working in logistics. First of all, of course, the LLMs are around, but what industry is now getting into is vertical AI. So people are building SLMs, small language models, specific to the problem statements. So give you specifically an example. So let's take route planning, right? We had algorithms for many, many decades, which helped you to do route planning per se. It will take a set of parameters, balance both sides and give you a good result. But people are now building model on the learning of the data of all the routes which are conducted, let's say, for example, last 10 years, and say what I can do better, right? So one thing which is happening in the industry is going vertical, using the available data sets and see what they can do, with the same. And then on top of that, put agentic, because unless you do not have the base available, the agent is going to struggle. If you tell an agent, where is my shipment, and when it will reach, that's a very generic question for an agent to answer. In what context? What is the underlying model to which it is going to talk? What data it is going to talk to? It will depend on that. The answer will depend on that. So that work is one area which is happening in the ecosystem point of view. Because agents are all the rage, everybody is trying to rush into the agents and building them. We are trying to be a bit cautious there, because we are saying, okay, you build an agent, what will it do? Because end of the day, customer does not understand agent, AI, LLM, SLM. He says, what is the benefit to me? You are coming to sell me something. You want, let's say, 100 rupees more from me. Tell me what is my ROI. And unless we have not really proven that as an industry, I think the revenue part is a little bit away. So the ecosystem looks like everybody's building things in hope to go to the customer and seek more money. And there is going to be a very good question whether customer is going to pay more for it, whether he will find it good enough to really replace something, get an ROI, and thereby give you more money per se. So investment is the ecosystem right now.
Okay.
So at Tata Steel, I will say, if I break the value chain into three aspects. One is manufacturing excellence, which is typically we are a manufacturing industry. There is a customer experience, and then there is functional excellence, which is the horizontal. So across the value chain, there are 550, that is 552 or some number, AI models running today. But when I say an AI ecosystem, I would say cloud, data, and AI. AI cannot start on its own, cannot stand on its own. It has to be fed with the data taxonomy. Data cannot be done without agent cloud, right? So we have this cloud data AI ecosystem. So now if I have to break this 550 models, just to give you a sense, 350 will be in the manufacturing excellence, that is 8Q, cool. That is yield, energy, throughput, quality. Around 200 will be distributed between customer and functional excellence, right? And if you really look at and we measure the business outcome, because as I said, AI has to deliver to the business outcome, he also mentioned that. So that is in the order of, I don't want to get into any press, but order of 16,000 crores that we could deliver today. We are tracking it. Not all of it goes to the P&L, because digital typically, if there are external market resources or external conditions change, typically creates that buoyancy. It could have been worse. Yeah. So if I count all of that, P&L and otherwise, the value protection and the value delivery is 16,000 crores. That's the order of magnitude delivered by the 550 AI models that are running.
Thank you.
It's just amazing, sir. Well done. I mean, that's next level. Yeah, from my perspective, and just a slightly maybe different take on the ecosystem. So we've got the lab, permissionless innovation, look at Horizon 3, experiment, go live. Go live was missing in my earlier stint, go live, right? Then we've got a program which is sorting out the data, because as you said, data is so important. We call it Prism, doing the hard work, right? Somebody once said the most important job in data is a data janitor's job. Just get it cleaned up. I mean, enterprises just don't have data and clean data. So we've got a whole program running, good technology, Snowflakes, Databricks, just sorting that out. We have a lot of engagement with startups. I mean, it's amazing, the world here, outside, fresh energy, right, coming in. We've launched something called Indigo Ventures as a means to stimuli and engage with the startups as well. So startups, you can't do without the hyperscalers. I was quite worried about hallucinations initially when we launched this, so made sure we dealt with both OpenAI and with Google. Those technologies currently underpin both cloud and what they do with AI. And then very on the edge, we also have in the ecosystem relationships with academia, right? We're just doing something with IIT Delhi. I'm on some relationship with IIT IIMs more and some other IIMs. And the idea is get the students to come and contribute, yeah, because it's a new field. We're all learning, right? So that kind of field ecosystem kind of helps with the AI effort.
Thank you.
Great, thank you so much for those amazing insights. I think I would agree with Jayant on the data structures bit. So at Zyla, early on, we structured our patient data into medical coding language, which is used globally, right? You may have heard of ICD-10 as an example. There are multiple others for different types of patient data. So from day one, we structured this data as metadata. Otherwise, if it's string data, then you would go crazy with natural language processing engines trying to just decipher that data. So all data has to be metadata. It has to be very, very objectively stored, correct? So that's what we did on day one. Then we started creating technologies to support our backend team with the clinical decision support, what I mentioned. So detect anomalies. That is not patient-facing at all. It is completely for our backend team to spot the anomalies. And these are tickets almost, right? Clinical tickets that this is a risk, this is not done, and they have to be closed. And now, then moving on, we created certain, I would say, agents, but not in the agentic flow of today, but this is 5 years back, when we created a bot to support the chat. And it was very clearly stated to the patient that we have certain automated reminders and systems to support your care. At no time did we say this is a human, right? Because, again, overall ethical AI, states that should not be done. Now what we do, because we're into patient care, there are a number of calls, right? There are consultation calls which go out to the patient very regularly. We are exploring ways of doing the follow-ups for data collection through the agentic flows. That is the new wave for us. But, of course, the investment will have to justify the revenue and the ROI, as the gentleman said. These are very expensive systems, right? So you have to deploy GPUs. The cloud costs goes up by like 10x, or you get GPU hardware deployed if you to actually use agentic flow. So it's not very straightforward for an Indian company operating in India on Indian revenues. So we have to be very careful. We, of course, do certain POCs, and then if we find the advantage in terms of me being able to onboard more B2B clients who can then give me 10,000 patients per client, then it would make sense. So we will go at a pace because we can't burn our money, right? And profitability is the number one focus.
Yeah. The next question is, what type of investment is needed for AI? And don't just look at capital, look at time, look at mind, look at change. Okay, articulated in terms of what's the total investment required by a company in order to drive this?
So I'll say it from a small startup company size point of view, all of it. Unless you are not thinking doing at ownership level AI entire time, I think it cannot be a part-time activity. But you obviously have competition for your time for doing things which are running today. But the commitment has to be complete. First thing, the doubts have to be removed in your mind. Is it going to work, not going to work? Is somebody going to pay? Some of the things I mentioned. So mind share investment has to be maximum point number one. Then comes the money investment. Luckily, the money investment can be limited to begin with. You can do POCs at a very, very invitation cost, let me put it that way. Almost all the large companies are in fact guiding you. Google, for example, is a supply chain support program for AI. And they are inviting companies like us, many of them saying that come prove your use case and we'll support you with credits, for example, on the engine. So you will not have to pay so much of money for starting it. But we are also cautioned by people who are working with us saying that if this becomes successful, the cost can shoot up very, very fast. So be mindful. What you saw in cloud is nothing. Similar thing happened to all of us in cloud. We thought cloud is so cheap, and then we realized we are paying probably more than what we were paying. Not chalk and cheese, but we are paying not significantly less than what we would have otherwise paid for the set of things we do. In AI, it can be a runaway cost. Just think of it, your agent becomes successful, and suddenly 1 lakh people download the agent, and all of them start running. The agent is free, by the way. You invited people to use it, and you will end up with a bill of $1 million in your pocket, in your inbox one fine day. Can happen if you're not cautious. So the cost can be, very high. At the start with it is very, very low. On the people side, yes, there will have to be an upgrade for some time to pay people more because talent is scarce today. People who understand this particular world are very few even today. You go to business schools, you go to engineering schools. Everybody's heard of AI. They know what it is. They've used ChatGPT. But you tell somebody, show me a project where you've actually taken an LLM, build something on top of it and show me the end result. Can be very small, but can you show me end to end? And then it says not really. So people who actually can do end to end have learned the hard way, and there are very few. So cost you to pay to them is very high today. And frankly, there is also a limiting factor sometimes. Do you have that kind of capital to put in? So absolutely, the mindshare cost on top, the cost of the technology to begin with may not be so much. People cost, maybe it's easy for gentlemen out here to simply attract the talent and pay them. But for the startups, it's going to be difficult to find that talent. And very importantly, even if you train them, they are good, they are going to be sucked in by your competition or a country called USA.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. So when it comes to investment, first is, as I said earlier, is business KPI. So your business case should drive any investment in technology. That's very important. So as I said, the 16,000 crore or whatever is an outcome of the business case. You have to be keeping yourself honest. From an investment perspective, there is a sequence. When I say cloud, data, AI, it has to be necessarily in that sequence. Some overlap is possible. Sometimes you have to start analyzing or running AI just to do a POC, as she said. But 85% of your investment goes into cloud. When I say cloud, it is edge and cloud, infrastructure. Then 10% will be on data. When I say data, it does not stand alone. It stands on the cloud and edge. And when I say data, it is data taxonomy, creating the single version of truth, quality of data, not the quantity. And then 5% goes into AI only. And to the point that he made that yes, cloud costs are increasing, but if you have to make a distinction between public cloud and private cloud. Most of the investments we have made on private cloud, which pays off. Public cloud is 6 times costlier than private cloud as per the data that I have and my consumption. Generative AI costs are decreasing at a token level. So it has become 1/16th of the time when it started. We have consumed around 7.5 billion tokens already, and the costs are coming down drastically. But the point is that mindless usage of AI is not going to help us because the token volume will increase. So the investment has to be driven, point number one, by the business case, keeping ourselves on it, track it. Are we fructifying the business case or not? People investment, I feel that if we really, every organization works on data, and the data should not leave the organization, then your entire capital goes out. That is the key advantage that you create for yourself. Technology is available on API call. You call the tech, process the data, it is absolutely possible to keep the investments at bay. But it is going to require the investment in that order. Second point you asked is that other than monetary, it is mindset. Because how many apps we have on all our phones and how many do we use? The point is that we can create all the tech, but if users don't use it, don't adopt it, there is no benefit. So it is a mindset of change that use technology to drive business. That's a journey. And that is the most important parameter on top of it. Yeah. Yes.
Very similar, so I'll be quick. I think AI, setting up an AI team initially, I mean, I'm just reflecting on what we've done, how it changes in the future is a different, perhaps, perspective. But let's just call it, that Zomato $1, How are we improving that? We're now looking at some orchestrators saying, if this kind of query comes up, use an open source, lower cost model. For something like this, use open. So we are looking at, now AI is maturing, their platforms are coming in place, but that's $X. Setting up the data pipeline in a large enterprise, I think you're talking $3. That's a real pain. I mean, you go through one by one, there are fights between divisions and, as you can imagine, sorting out the data is perhaps the most costly, and we are going through that journey. And then I couldn't agree more with then the third bit, which we just started dabbling with, which is how do we kit up our people? How do we change mindset? How do we tell that this wave is coming? That would be like $7, I guess, right? So AI $1, probably 3, 4, and then
$7 on the mind.
Right, yeah.
So short answer, very, very expensive, right? For a young company like us, we have to be very, very mindful. And I'll give you very specific, transparent examples. So we, create a health plan for the end user, correct? To improve their health. So right now it's in English, and there's an algorithm we've written. It is basically combining everything from a disease of a person to a symptom to an ingredient, building upon recipes. It's a smart algorithm, but it's a rule-based engine because there's a medical science existing. Take tomato for this, don't take tomato for this. Very simple, right? So it's a rule-based engine. It works beautifully, and it gives a very customized plan based if you're a Gujarati, Bengali, etc. Now I told my CTO, he's a crazy technologist, 22 years experience. He has patents in different fields, right? So he knows all of this, correct? but can we build everything? So I told him I want this plan to be created in any language at the request of the patient in 1 second. I want it in Gujarati, I want it in Bengali. Right? Simple, because you can ask ChatGPT to do that. So he said, Khushbu, we can do it. I need 80 lakhs in budget. So I said, okay. I asked for the breakup, right? So there was a breakup. There is a server cost. There's a GPU cost. Unless you put physical GPUs, it's very expensive. We all use AWS or other Google Cloud, etc. We all thought at scale it'll get cheaper. It does not get cheaper, right? So today we literally pay almost a double-digit lakh bill for cloud and other technologies my tech team uses. And technology overall is expensive, right? We are a very data-driven operations company. So my operations tech stack is as expensive as my tech stack, correct? So the tools I use for ticket management, desk management, data management, Power BI dashboards, 10 others, right? It is as expensive in total as my tech stack. Now you add AI to it. Another example, we try to digitize all lab reports. We get a lot of reports for patients, right? Humans were digitizing those into the medical coding. So we thought, let's run OCR. We are in a smart world. We created our own OCR on top of an AWS system. A human was digitizing a report for me for 40 rupees at scale. I introduced OCR. We spent 15 lakhs to create the system, and we had certain estimations. But when we launched and we started the POC, a report was being digitized for 150 rupees. So we thought, what did we really achieve? So to be very transparent and honest here, we're living in India. Why these things are a big hit in the US and they're taken up so fast, driverless cars, drone-driven delivery, agentic systems to reduce human agents, is because humans are very expensive there, right? My sister lives in London, so she tells me real examples of how she cannot afford a house help, right? These are real examples. In India, unfortunately, we are a country of 145 crore people, and labor is low cost. So unless a business use case, as the gentlemen here have highlighted, can be made that if I invest so much, what is my per unit cost eventually, vis-a-vis if a human does it at the same quality? Until this is justified for a use case, it is very difficult to scale it fast. So we have found some of our use cases, but I'm telling you about the failures because it's very important to understand, as again, the gentleman here mentioned, that we cannot use it in a hasty way. That, okay, agentic flows hit in the US, let's launch it in India. Tomorrow, I want this live. It can't work like that. It has to be very, very well thought through. Hence, today we're using it more in the backend, and we're exploring ways of evolving our chatbot and our calls through this if the costs justify.
Yeah. Good. Last common question to the panel. As you implemented AI in your organization, what surprised you positively and what surprised you harshly?
So I don't think there was a surprise, but there is a harsh reality is data. In my entire transformation journey, I find it very difficult. I think Nitin also mentioned that it's very difficult to have business understand data as a business asset. Business thinks as an IT asset. It is not an IT asset. I have no idea of what the data is. I can be the custodian of the data, can have the safekeep and the upkeep, but the fundamental data ownership is with business. And that is where creating a single version of truth, the data taxonomy, creating that good quality data that will create good analytics or good AI is the biggest challenge. And an enterprise like us, it is a large organization. Okay. That's the harsh reality, and it's still going on.
Data is the harsh reality. Yeah.
For me, the harsh reality was as we started studying the field, saying, let's find out what's happening in the world. And then we realized we are so much far behind. The amount of innovation and the startups which has happened in USA already on agentic AI. I mean, there are probably 20 startups in logistics which are $10 million funded plus already on the way. They are also in early stages. It is not that they are like late stage companies anymore so soon. But we in India are starting. And then when we talk to customers, right, another harsh reality hits you saying that they don't know much about it. Say, what is this? I don't know. What is agentic? What is AI? How ChatGPT suna hai type of thing. And I'm talking about scale customers. I'm not talking about very small scale companies with whom also we work, but we work with largish companies as well. They all are aware of it. Indians are smart. Every person is very well read. But the harsh reality is they don't want to put money on the table today. We give the argument that, this is happening in USA. Look at that startup. He's working with X logistics company and dekho kya kar rahe hain. You can be the first one to do it in India. Table pe 1 crore rakho na. 1 crore. not only my BIT budget for the entire, whole Rona Dona will come out in front of you. So the money is still not on the table. The brain is on the table, and Indians are very, very smart. But money from customers will only drive a startup to really deliver something of value. Otherwise, he can get capital and make something, good pilot maybe, good POC, but will he become a 100 million, 200 million ARR company on only AI, which companies in US are already on the way. So that's the third harsh reality. If they build an agent which can do something in USA, I'm not in business anymore to provide that agent. Give you an example. If I build an agent to, let's say, reply to RFQs, I get 100 RFQs a day. I now have an agent which will read the RFQ, take my quotation data and reply, right? For example, automated, no human being required. If somebody builds it in USA, it is useful in Europe, in India, everywhere. I no longer have the luxury to say, no, I am different in India, because quotation is a quotation is a quotation, and AI being self-learning tool. Well, you will learn in a couple of months. So these are probably more harsh realities that I face than positives, I guess. But obviously, you take that into account and start working towards what you can do.
Yeah, one exciting thing I didn't expect was when Sky started responding, what would deem like emotional responses, right? So when you study our customers are responding with him, her every day. I never expected, right, that it could actually get emotional. So that was quite a surprise. Yeah, and I can quote lots of transcripts. We don't have the time right now. And harsh reality, I agree. I mean, sorting out the data and the cost curve, I think you said it so nicely, right? You got to watch the cost curve. So suddenly we went steep, and then we had to take some immediate corrective actions, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, I think one is that AI is used very loosely, right? So in all our investor decks on the title, I never write AI, right? All the healthcare companies write AI-powered XYZ. I say outcome-based care management platform, right? That is my purpose of existence, correct? So technology is a very large landscape, right? AI is now the forefront of it, but should not be used loosely. And we should know exactly what AI is, what ML is, what data science is. They have very, very different implications. Secondly, I would say I was surprised still with the level of sort of independent work AI could still do, right? So just as an example, we tried to train a data set we had on surgery data of patients. We were trying to migrate it to another new form of coding, CPT coding. So we had done some bit of it, and we thought we'll give some examples, and we bought ChatGPT enterprise version, and we'll feed an Excel sheet of 20,000 rows, and it should be able to do that mapping, crawl the internet and find me the CPT code for a surgery, right? It's as simple as that. I'm trying to find a CPT code. But it could not, correct? So it hallucinated at every 50th row. There were a lot of inaccuracies. This is the enterprise version. Then we tried another similar tool. So what we learned eventually is that it needs a lot of training. This we were trying to self-do through the operations team, not disturb our CTO, right? That we should be able to do it now. Why do we need to disturb the tech team? But it needs a lot of training, right? So you will need to train it very, very heavily with a lot of examples, correct? And then you'll have to see the output and then correct it. It is a very iterative process on a massive data set. Only then you can use it independently for any action, right? It's not like that it just becomes your agent without, you pick an enterprise version and you say, these are my 10 queries and start responding or start doing this job. Yeah. It has to be very heavily trained.
It's not a plug and play.
Yes.
Yeah, so I have one question for each of you, basis your industry. The first is for Jayanta. Tata Steel is a B2B company, Jayanta. How does the AI help you in the customer area?
First of all, there is a thought process that nothing is B2B. It ultimately goes to a C. There's multiple Bs in between. So if we look at that perspective, so today Tata Steel, the perception is a highly physical industry, everything, and we sell sariyas end of the day, right? So, and we sell it to distributors and channel partners and dealers. But if you really look at 20 to 25% of our sales is online today, due to digital, due to technology. And there are recommendation engines like in Netflix and others, like Amazon, that we are using to help customers curate their experience on our site, right? So 25% is a big number and still increasing. So the point here is that from a two major aspects, we are focusing on creating a customer experience, because we have been a lean manufacturer. We have been known in the world as a lean manufacturing company. Toyota is also. But as a part of the World Economic Forum, where I also said, it's fundamentally all these companies have come together, and WAFE is also helping us to create an operating system where we focus on customers differently. Our role models are no longer a manufacturing company. Role models have become the Zomato, Blinkit, Amazon. Our CEO keeps on telling me that, okay, can we give the order confirmation within real time? Right? Can I do 95% OTIF?
Yeah,
right?
OTIF, yeah.
Yeah, OTIF.
Yeah.
So one time in full. So the problem is that is where we have to go. And it is possible because the data is available. So if I can give visibility to the customer, it is a B2C. Yeah. End of the day, that is a consumer. So that is where I will put it. Customer complaint management is all generative AI enabled today.
Okay.
So the bot or the generative AI is not only listening to the customer, also auto-classifying the defect back into R&D, back into production, back into quality department, and doing the root cause and getting back to the customer. Possible.
Thank you. Khushbu, you're in healthcare. Okay, what's the role of privacy in managing AI?
Yes, extremely important topic, right? Because this is healthcare data, and we all also know about the DPTP Act, latest Privacy Acts of India. Thankfully, India has taken a great step in terms of health data privacy. So number one is consent. I think seeking the right consent from the end user at the right time, and allowing them to manage their data like they want. So if someone wants their data to be deleted, we have to delete it, and we cannot keep it in a model even later, even if it's anonymized, right? Second would be adhering to the data security norms, because you're storing PI data of a person, personally identifiable medical data of a human being, right? So where you're storing the data security systems, the encryptions, right, the disaster management, data management, ensuring that no cyber attacks are possible. The safety and security of the data has to be A-class, and that again is a big cost, right? So if you if you use AWS as a cloud, and you have the highest level of data security, which we have to, because we have to pass the audits of companies like Tata Steel and others who are our clients, right? It is very expensive, correct? The multiple levels of security. And third is adherence to compliance, correct? So there are some global compliances, like in the US, there is HIPAA compliance for data privacy. There is GDPR in the UK. India, we now following DPTP, but ISO is also one of the norms. So we adhere to all of them, and we adhere to the T, right? So it's not just about a policy and there is a document around it, but there are annual audits by an external agency. We submit these audit reports to our clients for the comfort of our client and the end user, that this data is protected as per the global norms. So all of these aspects become very, very critical. And last but not the least, data security, privacy, ethics, all of this is not just a concept or a protocol, but a culture. So it has to be implemented as a culture, because eventually no SOP can control a human being, correct? Yeah. All of us can get our hands on some data and do something. It is culture driven, that I'm patient centric, I'm user centric, I want to support my patient and I want to keep the data safe because I'm ethical and this is my ethical boundary. So we drive it through culture. Of course, all of these things are also critical.
Yeah, Nathan, how has AI helped Indigo in efficiency specifically?
Yeah, I mean, broadly, it's permeating into pretty much every business process. We have around 32 platforms which underpin our core digital processes, all back office operational processes. And most of them, to be honest, are third party. I mean, Indigo runs 100% on the cloud now, right? We switched off our data centers. So most of them are anyway going through this journey of optimization for years now. And we are now looking at how do we squeeze another level of optimization out of crew rostering or workforce management or flight planning with the AI layer above it. But Shiv, to just answer your question, I mean, operational efficiency, customer experience, revenue generation with Sky, we're also looking at ancillary revenue, deep learning algorithms. In the aviation business, the use cases and potentiality of AI permeates through all its business processes, and currently we are exploring pretty much every part of it.
Yeah, thank you. Apurva, last question, individual. How is AI organizing the unorganized logistics ecosystem in India?
It's not yet organizing the industry. It's a very tough industry to organize. There are 1 million transporters in this country. Everybody with one truck or one auto rickshaw is a logistics company in this country. Sector is such, absolutely zero entry barrier. Tomorrow you can become a logistics company, just go outside, start driving a small e-rickshaw and delivering goods, right? Every individual, Zomato guy is into logistics. Given that, organizing the industry, if I say as a standard definition that top 10 players account for 50% of market share, not happening. It's not happening anywhere in the world, will not happen because of the sheer type of industry in domestic trucking industry. Air logistics, obviously there will be only 5 players, for example. So, frankly, that's too much a question to ask an AI saying, can you organize the logistics industry? So I'll keep the answer at a given individual company level. There, definitely companies can benefit in this unorganized world to become even more efficient and better. And when in a set of large industry where everybody else is not so organized and you become better, it's definitely competitive advantage. So 2 areas for that. One, I already gave the example of RFQ. Can I answer the demand instead of 100 vehicles a day to 1,000 vehicles a day with the same manpower? Right? That will be great because my percentage success of placing vehicles will go up, my turnover will go up without cost. Margin being where it is. Second, obviously, this is an industry where you can't increase prices. Inflation, rain, volcanic eruption, whatever may happen, transporters complain they don't get more money from companies like Tata Steel. Right? Fundamental complaint. पैसा ही नहीं देते सर, बाहर 24 घंटा खड़ा रखते हैं, डेमराज नहीं देते हैं, पैसा टाइम में नहीं देते हैं, क्या करें, ड्राइवर को बाथरूम जाने के लिए पैसा नहीं है, जगह नहीं है. Standard companies, not for Tata Steel, across the industry, right? In such an industry, the only thing you can do is improve efficiency. So capacity utilization, so AI definitely can help to predict the companies with certain scale, saying that, is my vehicle going to go empty? Can I do something about it? Today it's all manual, and I think that's where some of the work is happening. So fundamentally, if I can increase my sales and improve my, efficiency, cost being where they are and margin being where they are, the logistics industry can organize, but only for a set of limited players with scale, ability, and obviously the technological nous to do it. Will it happen at scale across the industry? Future question, future answer.
Thank you. That was absolutely fascinating. We now open it out to the audience. Any questions you want to ask anybody, please direct your question to the person and go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Hello. Somebody here? Yeah. I see a lot of hands going up.
Hello. Hi, this is Chetan. I work with a lot of large organizations in transformation. The question is for the larger companies, I guess it's Tata Steel here and Indigo, rather than the new age companies. What we see over here is the pace of innovation, and especially in this AI, is going so fast, right? But larger organizations were traditionally designed, keeping in mind the old ways of working, And to be a little bit more specific to the steel industry, I'm sure you talked about customer experience.
Can you keep your question specific, please? Yeah. What is the question?
So the question is, with this pace of change going up and the organizations which have been designed in a specific manner, how do you see the change management, especially with the larger organizations which are old fiefdoms?
Good question. So what is important, that is why it has to be starting from a business side, that it entails process change. It is not just bringing the tech first. First, you have to see what is your business strategy, where do you want to go, like the customer experience. We have said that we'll want to be more nimble and behave like a B2C or a Swiggy or a Zomato or a Amazon or whatever. You have to have that charter. Then you define what is the strategy to go there. You have your business case. Then you bring in tech. In the process, you have to rationalize processes, you have to kill processes, and that is a very, very important part of it, to answer your question specifically.
If I may just add very briefly, get stuff done. Bias to action, large enterprises don't move, so get stuff done, show value, take another leap, get stuff done again, get into action.
Good. Others, yeah, you had a question, please.
Hi, I'm Harshit Jain of the Sigma Advisory. Thank you very much, a very insightful panel discussion. My question is that, for adapting AI, people are told that it will free up time from routine activities that you're doing. But the question is that if the routine activities are being done by AI, how do the humans actually learn the routine things? Unless they learn the routine things, they can't learn the expert things. So how do you actually solve this conundrum?
Good question. So there is no short and sweet answer, but the point is that you are going and replacing the mundane tasks and freeing up the effort to do something better, right? Push more and more people towards expert work. So the variability, as I said, AI will take care of the variability in competency levels. That's the first step. Second is that you do the mundane task, you give it to tech to do, and you move on to something else. That's possible, very much possible to shift the effort towards something that you have to do. And in a growing organization, it is not a problem because the effort can move somewhere else easily.
Just to add on, I think the world evolves, right? So if you've driven a manual car and now if you drive an automatic car and then you're asked to drive a manual car after 1 year, you'll find it quite difficult, right? And the world transforms to automatic cars mostly. So I think the mundane tasks then sort of fade out slowly. And there are many such examples.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I heard a lot of references today how US is advancing and doing things. A recent survey, I think it was in Post Magazine, where it says, recent publication, Forbes said that 70% of the CEO in US admitted they don't know how to use AI, they don't understand the technology, and they don't have the wisdom to make the business case today. So what's your advice for the leadership? I'm assuming you all are tech savvy, but most of the CEOs, if you take top 5,000 in India,
Correct, yeah.
will fall into the same category who don't
What's
have
the advice for CEOs to drive AI? That's your question?
Yeah. What do you advise, how the leadership should change in this new era?
Go ahead.
Get a good CTO.
So that's my job description you just articulated. That's the job of us, to educate and make people aware and keep pushing that there is a value there. It is a constant battle. It is very pertinent question. It is not individual CEO, business at large would be very comfortable. It's human nature to stay where they are. You have to drive the change. You have to bring in, show the art of possible. Reverse mentoring is something that Tata Steel does, where all our senior leaders, 50 plus, have a mentor, formal process, who is 30 years or 25 years old. And that process works beautifully well.
Last question, please.
Yeah. Hi, Ashish this side. I am from L&D sector. So just wanted to know from all the panelists, how are you dealing with, making your own people learn about your company, product or the services? Is it still limited to the LMS or LXP, or have you gone beyond, or maybe you are using your own generative AI for that? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
No, we are not using still our own generative AI. We still depend on the external models to do it. We do use that technology available to us to train them on our data and thereby generating customized result. For example, I now have an engine which can talk to my own databases and give an answer, let's say to create a consignment note. So it's combining things that we have, what's available in the world. At least as an organization, we do not have the talent pool or probably even today the need to create our own LLM.
I'll go with the answer. We don't create our own generative AI. We use any model. We orchestrate on our data. And that is where our consumption layer is getting trained.
Same answer. Sorry. I mean, also learning is a lot more human, so to change mindset and get people interested in, we do a lot of face-to-face, getting new people in, discussing, having those debates, and then learning comes from doing. So I keep repeating that, right? Get something done.
We haven't seen too much tech and automation working for L&D, honestly. We believe, again, as the team here said, a lot in classroom training. And also, when we have a comprehensive LMS, but even that is recorded videos with our voice and then the quizzes inbuilt, etc. Right? So we are talking to the team rather than robotic. So L&D is very complicated for this.
Yeah, just to add, AR, VR is a very good thing that we are using in L&D, that we are doing. Right. Yeah.
Over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Shiv Kumar, for leading this session, and thank you for the panel for such insightful. It